And what I'm curious to kind of talk about is how, when we think of default China, like a typical person in China, how might people and the culture of Heilongjiang be different, right?
Well, I would say Heilongjiang's locals like describe that it's warm and hospitable. Because like in my family, my parents always welcome guests. Like we do a lot of dishes, just kind of like a welcome and also comfortable for them.
What does it mean to you when you think about Heilongjiang? You think about that province particularly. Like for me, I if you ask me about like New York compared to another American state, I'd say, people are very focused, they're very hardworking, they're very driven, they can seem sometimes a little cold, but it's also a place of like industry and a lot of fast-paced life, and that's different from maybe other American areas. How do you think of Heilongjiang, as home, but like unique within China?
When I think about Heilongjiang, I'll say like rather than personality of the local, but also they always hardworking as well. So we have a lot of industry and heavy industry as well, and people are just hardworking on that. And nowadays, young people just move out. Right now, it's only like old people in Heilongjiang. And kind of sad, but that's true.
I'll go through a couple of things that I know about, maybe not Heilongjiang specifically, but Northeastern China. There's a lot of steel and coal there, and that was a whole area of China that was occupied by the Japanese for a good period of time. I mean, like a good 15 years almost. They did a lot of development there, but my understanding is that a bunch of the steel and coal that China used comes from that part of China. And there was a lot of, like, as you said, heavy industry.
That's right.
Compared to maybe other parts. But then you said a lot of the young people are leaving there.
Right.
Is that because they want to move to big cities like Beijing and Shanghai and Shenzhen and work in like tech and entertainment and those sorts of things?
Yes, because Heilongjiang's education compared to Shandong or other province is kind of less educational, right? But young people is trying to pursuing higher educations that's why they move to the bigger city.
So the education's a little bit, there was one person I was talking to on the show about educational differences in China, and that Shandong is generally seen as a leader for education. Yes. It's like, that's where the really intense schools are. Heilongjiang traditionally, you would say, is a little bit behind.
Yes.
It's like below average in terms of the education system. Yeah. What was your experience like with that? I mean, I suppose, how old were you when you left, first of all?
When I was 18.
When you were 18, okay.
I moved to the States.
And what was your sense of your education growing up there compared to your sense of other Chinese kids in other provinces?
Let's say when we have Gaokao, which is if you're trying to get into the college, you have to take a test, right?
The exam, yeah.
Right. So I think my average is about like 300 something. It's very, very low. You can't get into a college. But for other province, maybe in Shandong, they average about 500.
So it sounds similar sort of to some US states where there are certain American states where test scores are on average very high, and other states that are maybe not so high.
Yes.
In the middle. And you'll see people from certain regions of the country very overrepresented in some colleges, for example, universities. But other people are other groups are very underrepresented. And that's not just by sort of like, what is your racial or ethnic ancestry, but like certain regions of the country too. How do you feel about that? Like, was it something that...
It's sad, but I don't know, because when I was little, I don't like studying.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So we always have a lot of outdoor activities because of geography and also the weather.
The weather, you said it's very cold, short summers. What's the actual geography like? It's a very, like, just from pictures I would guess, it's kind of flat with some rolling hills?
Yes, we have a lot of national parks, a lot of mountains, rivers, and people enjoy skiing or ice fishing. I would say it's kind of like Alaska.
Yeah, Alaska or even like Minnesota would be another American state. Alaska, I don't know. Alaska is almost viewed as like just like the wild. You've got like it's like people live there, but it's seriously nature. Yeah. What else would you do for fun? Let's say.
Well, the Heilongjiang's capital is Harbin. The Harbin is famous for its snow ice sculpture.
Oh, okay.
Festival. Right. So we just go to the snow and ice sculpture festival every year. So it's really a big festival in China.
Did you find, maybe because of the schooling being not as crazy as with Shandong, did you have more time in your day as a kid growing up where you weren't just always studying?
I think so.
Okay.
Because I was studying.
All right, because some kids I talk to, or some people now, young adults I talk to, they describe their lives as just all they did was study. That was like their whole existence.
Right.
But you actually had time to do other things in your life.
Oh, because for Chinese kids, it's really sad they always have, studying from maybe like 6:30 morning to the 9:30. But my parents they're pretty chill.
Do you want to talk about regional food up in Northeastern China? Because a lot of different kinds of food in China, right? You think stereotypically, even aside from like American Chinese food, you're thinking noodles, dumplings, probably